Thank you. Okay, guys, so before we go out and do this layout, I'm going to show you the quickest way I know as to how to set up a theodolite, and this will even apply to a total station over a known point. Okay? So you have your tripod. You're going to loosen up the strap. You'll disengage the cam locks right here. Okay? Now notice how this is a fiberglass / wood composite tripod as compared to the aluminum ones that we're using for the builder's level. You would never use aluminum tripods for a theodolite total station. We're going to use the composites, okay? We're going to lift this up and notice how I'm lifting all three legs at the same time, okay? There's no splay in these legs just yet. I'm keeping them in nice and tight. This way I know every leg is opened up the same length. Notice also where the top plate is. You don't want it too high or else you'll be, standing up on the balls of your feet trying to look through that telescope. So I think a nice comfortable for me is right about the center of my chest, okay, or your Zypher or whatever. Lock the cams. Here's your point. You don't want to set up over here, you want to set up over the point. Open the instrument up and listen. You're doing this by eye, okay? You want to be about 2 feet away from your point, and you want about 3 feet apart from foot to foot to foot, okay? You can look down the center of your top plate and kind of see where you are with that point. I'm a little bit off of it, so I just might, a little something like that, okay? My next move now is going to be to level the top plate by eye. So I'm going to step back. I'm going to look at something in the distance as a gauge or a guide, and I'm just going to manipulate it like that. And then I'm going to come over here about 90 degrees, same thing, and I'm going to do that. Okay? Good enough for right now. I'm going to push down with my hands to make sure that these cams are engaged. This is really important. You could be putting anywhere from a $5,000 theodolite to a $60,000 total station on top of this. So you want to make sure that these things are fully locked, okay? I'm going to come for my instrument. And what's real important, guys, is this, how this instrument is stowed in the case. On this particular Spectra Industries, there's 2 orange dots, one on the alidade, the other one on the tribrac. And we want to make sure that they're lined up. That's exactly how the instrument will be stowed at the end of the day. In addition, when you stow this, you want to make sure your horizontal and your vertical tangent locking screws are unlocked. You want free movement on this, okay? That way if there's any kind of shaking or whatnot, the instrument will have some play on it. Tribrac is triangular in shape. The base bait is triangular in shape. Triangle over triangle. Okay? We're going to use a locking nut to secure the instrument to the top plate. So far, nothing different from the builder's level, right? Everything's pretty much the same. I want to come back and I want to make sure that my case is closed because I don't want any construction dirt or dust getting in here. We'll put this aside, okay? Now, I don't know who used this instrument before me, so I'm always going to check that my leveling screws are centered of these studs right here. Now there is a little indentation right there, so I'm just going to manipulate these screws until I am right on those indentations. That's telling me that I have enough up as I do down with my leveling screws, so I'm not going to run out, okay? Okay. Horizontal locking tangent screw. Notice how it spins freely. If at any time there's any resistance Do not force the gun. Large locks. See, you have two different size screws here? Large locks. Then the smaller one is going to be the one that you're going to use to fine tune it, right? On that same vein, with this, I want to make sure that my horizontal tune screw is centered as well. And you'll see a little indentation there. I got enough movement right as I do left. I'm going to do the same thing with the vertical locking screw. Okay? I'm going to find that little indentation. Sometimes it's yellow, sometimes it's just an indentation. I want to make sure it's centered. Now I know that my telescope has enough up as it does down. Okay? All right. My next move is to get on point. And I'm going to use my optical plummet to get on point. And how I'm going to do that is like this. I'm going to turn this optical plummet facing me. Do it like this from the camera. So it's facing me. I'm going to lock the instrument. I'm now going to grab the tripod by two legs. And I'm going to pivot on the back leg. And as I'm looking through there, I'm going to pivot the instrument until my crosshairs are right on that point. And I'm going to come down on that point. Now, I'm not exactly on that point. So what I can do is this. I can use a leveling screw and I can turn a couple of these to move those crosshairs until I'm on point. And right now, I am on point. My next move is to level the base plate, not the instrument. And how I'm going to level the base plate is by using the tripod legs. The reason being, if I try leveling it using the screws, I'm going to come off of my point, aren't I? So I'm going to use my tripod legs to level the base plate. The bullseye valve right here is going to tell me if my base plate is level or not. Right now I'm at a level. I'm going to put my foot on one of the spurs. I'm going to unlock the cam, and I'm just going to manipulate these legs until that bubble is center of that bullseye, which it is. I'm now going to look through my optical plummet again to make sure I did not come off a point. As I look through, I barely came off a point. So I'm going to loosen up my locking nut. I'm just going to slide the instrument slightly on my top plate and re-engage. My base plate is level. I am on point. Now I'm going to come up here and level the instrument. And I'm going to use the leveling screws to level the instrument. I will unlock it. I will get the face plate between any two screws, like so. My face plate, my leveling screws. And notice how I know I'm in the proper face. The vertical locking screw is facing the operator, not the other way around. That's important. I know it's got dual screens, but to be in the proper face, the vertical locking screw needs to be facing me. I center that plate up between the two screws. I lock the instrument, and now my focus is on the top vial that's on the instrument. The bubble will move in the direction of your left thumb. Right now my bubble's on this side. I need it to move towards the right. Both hands on the leveling screws. I slightly turn my screws. It should not take a whole lot because we've already leveled the base plate. So you really shouldn't have to manipulate these screws all that much. Once I'm level this way, I'm going to turn the instrument 90 degrees. So I'm either looking at the battery or the side casing of the gun. I'm going to step to the side, the third remaining leveling screw. I'm going to use this to get it level that way. I'll bring it back to make sure I'm still level and give the bubble a little time to walk, because it will walk for a few seconds, okay? So you don't want to rush. Make sure it doesn't walk. I look good this way. I look good this way. Because I manipulated these screws, I'm going to recheck again to make sure my crosshairs did not come off point. As I recheck, it did come off the point a little bit. I'm going to loosen. I'm going to slide. I'm going to re-engage. And I'm going to start the process all over again. Center my faceplate between the two screws. I am barely touching these screws, guys. Barely. I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. Looks good. Looks good. I'll recheck. I'm good to go. I am level and I am on point. Now, it may take you 2 or 3 times to do this. I tell my apprentices there's no rush with this, because I could be laying out 100 points from this station right here. And if I'm off even a little bit, all 100 of my points are going to be off, okay? So when setting up on a point, the things that you want to make sure of is, number 1, that these locks are engaged, that this tripod will not fall down. Number 2, the instrument is set up center of this top plate. We never want to see this. We never want to see anybody sliding this instrument so it's hanging off the plate, right? So we want to make sure that this is centered. The third thing is, using the optical plummet, we're going to get on point, or as close as we can, by looking through that optical plummet and pivoting on the back leg until we're on point. If you can't get exactly on point, get close to it. And then, using your leveling screws, turn them until you're on point. Now that we're on point, we're going to level the base plate using the legs. Because when we use the legs, our crosshairs are going to stay on point or not move very far. I'm going to use this leg, I'm going to use this leg, whatever I got to do to get that bubble center. Once it's in there, I'm going to look through again. I have it moved. I'm now going to center the faceplate between 2 leveling screws, and I'm going to manipulate the instrument using the screws here. Turn it 90. Come back here. And if you notice, I'm barely turning these screws because I'm already level on the plate. I'll recheck. If I came off just a little bit, I can loosen, I can slide, I can tighten, and then I can re-level the instrument again using the screws. I'm level and on point. Thank you, brother.